It's no secret that Alibaba is one of the world's largest retailers and e-commerce companies. Headquartered in Hangzhou, China, the multi-tech giant is currently worth $227 billion, with an estimated annual revenue of $126 billion. Last year, Alibaba served approximately 1.31 billion customers globally and received over 12.7 billion orders. The company continues to dominate the Chinese and international markets by offering more than 200 million products from 40 different categories. Alibaba's world-renowned ecosystem consists of 6 business groups and 13 subsidiaries, including AliExpress, Alibaba, and Taobao, to name a few. But none of this would have existed without the leading man and founder who amassed billions and inspired the entire world. This is the story of the rise and fall of Jack Ma. Jack Ma Yun once held the title of China's most prominent business magnate. His journey from his humble beginnings to his rise to a tech billionaire is nothing short of extraordinary. Born and raised in Hangzhou, Ma Yun grew up poor and faced multiple setbacks before he could even begin his career. During his teenage years, he worked as a guide for foreign tourists in exchange for English lessons, which laid the foundation for his early education. He failed the entrance exam for the Hangzhou Teachers College twice before getting in on his third attempt. After graduating in 1988, Ma started teaching English at Hangzhou Dianzi University, earning a meager $12 a month. This experience prompted him to start his first company in 1994, named the Haibo Translation Agency, which provided English translation services. A year later, Ma had his first internet experience during a trip to the US, which made him realize that starting a Chinese web company was an exceptional business opportunity, so he founded one of China's pioneering internet company, China Pages. However, Ma parted ways with the venture only 2 years later and secured a job at a government-backed internet company in Beijing. It wasn't until 1999 that Ma returned to Hangzhou and convinced 17 other co-founders to start Alibaba, which was his unique vision for an online marketplace. He decided on the company name after realizing the universal popularity of the Middle Eastern folktale character Alibaba. One day, I was in San Francisco in a coffee shop, and I was thinking, Alibaba is a good name, Ma said in an interview. And then a waitress came, and I said, "Do you know about Alibaba?" And she said yes. Then I went onto the street and found 30 people and asked them, "Do you know Alibaba?" People from India, people from Germany, people from Tokyo and China all knew about Alibaba. So, Ma registered the catchy, easy-to-spell name, which would later become popular all over the globe. Shortly after its inception, Alibaba received $25 million from 2 major investors, and by 2005, it had received a $1 billion investment from Yahoo in exchange for 40% equity. 2 years later, Alibaba.com raised $1.7 billion in its IPO in Hong Kong, which was followed by a massive expansion and multiple investments during the 2010s. As for Jack Ma, he quickly became one of the leading businessmen in the world, even after stepping down as Alibaba's CEO in 2013. A year later, Alibaba's IPO was the largest in history, which quickly escalated Ma's net worth to $25 billion, making him the richest Chinese billionaire at the time. During the same year, he expanded his empire with the financial tech giant Ant Group, which is also an affiliate of Alibaba and owns the digital payment platform Alipay. By 2019, Ma's net worth had reached a whopping $39 billion, and he stepped down as executive chairman of Alibaba Group Holding a year later. But even after that, he remained one of China's most successful business figures and continued to inspire millions of entrepreneurs and businessmen all over the world. However, Ma's eventual downfall became just as memorable as his rise in the industry. In 2020, Jack Ma infamously stepped away from the public eye, leaving behind his tech empire. And even though he still has a multi-billion-dollar net worth, Ma's disappearance has been shocking for many. So, what was the reason behind his exit from the industry? And how did the CCP ruin Jack Ma's life? It all started in October 2020 when Ma made headlines after criticizing China's financial regulatory system in his speech at the annual People's Bank of China Financial Markets Forum. During the conference, he said that his country's regulators and banks had a pawn shop mentality and that they were following global rules that are a part of an old people's club, which makes them unsuitable for Chinese tech innovation. He said, "We can't use yesterday's methods to regulate the future." A month after Ma's speech, the Ant Group IPO was heavily halted by new regulations introduced by Chinese authorities. Moreover, the company's $37 billion planned stock market flotation, which would have been the world's largest, was also stopped since the Ant Group was disqualified from making an IPO. According to several reports, Ma offered parts of the Ant Group to the Chinese government, but the regulators still went ahead with the strict regulations. Shortly afterward, the business magnate vanished from the public eye, after which people even speculated that he may have been forced to disappear. Even after Ma's disappearance, Chinese regulators didn't stop sniffing around his business empire. They not only launched an antitrust investigation, but also began to disassemble the company, neutered its money market fund, and filed multiple antitrust penalties. According to multiple reports, the CCP accused Alibaba of abusing its market dominance and ordered the company to rectify its behavior and shrink its business. That's not all. Jack Ma was also removed as the president of Hupan University, which he founded in 2015. It had become one of China's most prestigious business schools, so it's safe to say that seeing the institute's downfall was extremely disappointing for Ma's followers, especially since he once said, "We want Hupan to run for 300 years. In the aftermath of these disastrous events, Ma ended up losing $12 billion of his fortune in just a few months. In 2021, Ma made a rare appearance when he briefly returned to the Alibaba headquarters. But he mostly kept a low profile, spending his months in Hong Kong, Spain, and Japan. In March 2023, the tech magnate resurfaced in China after spending more than a year overseas. According to the South China Morning Post, which is owned by Alibaba, Ma had been traveling around the globe to learn more about agricultural technology, but the newspaper did not comment on why he made no public appearances. He reportedly visited Yungu School, which is located in Hangzhou and funded by Alibaba. During his headline-making visit, Ma had a detailed discussion with the teaching staff before speaking about the impact of artificial intelligence on education. According to translated videos on social media, Ma discussed the rise of the AI chatbot ChatGPT, saying, "ChatGPT and similar technologies are just the beginning of the AI era. We should use artificial intelligence to solve problems, instead of being controlled by it." In his speech, Ma also spoke about his desire to return to teaching someday. In May 2023, Jack Ma accepted a teaching role at the University of Tokyo, Japan, where he gave his first lecture as a visiting professor 1 month later. Besides giving seminars on innovation and entrepreneurship, Ma also plans to conduct research on sustainable agriculture and food production. Earlier this year, the University of Hong Kong announced that Ma would join its business school for the next 3 years. It's safe to say this marks his much-awaited return to public life as an educator and researcher. As for his involvement in Alibaba, it's still easy to see Jack Ma's influence over the company he founded and led for 2 decades. Most recently, his close confidant and Alibaba co-founder Wang Jian made his return as a board member. According to the company's senior executives, Wang's return is very clear. It shows that the biggest boss of Alibaba is still Jack Ma. Nonetheless, these past few years haven't been easy on Jack. From giving up on his glory to witnessing his empire under attack, the tech billionaire has experienced the kind of downfall that will go down in history. I think among the richest men in China, few have good endings. Jack Ma.